Alright, the bolt actions. Some of Tarkov's finest purveyors of dopamine and satisfaction. That, or you miss and feel unparalleled anguish. Because of the inherently high risk factor, people who use them tend to think they're really good shots. They also couldn't care less about meta or efficiency. That, or they hate them but are using them to level sniper skill. Then they never touch them ever again. Broad stereotypes out of the way, let's get into the more nitty-gritty specifics. The VPO 215 is definitely the most polarizing in terms of equipment and skill. If someone has FMJ, Geska, or EKO, then they are likely just targeting scavs. In general, they aren't the best at PvP, and they should be a pretty easy kill. If, however, they are using AP-M, then they are a terrifying force of nature that puts fear into the hearts of anyone lacking class 5 armor. It's like a baby tiger. Really cute until it develops the ability to tear a hole in your chest. Also, it's a very common choice for Tarkov Shooter Part 3 on Factory. If someone is using a scopeless Mosin, odds are they needed a budget blaster that is still really effective at killing things. The 2-shot potential against up to class 4 and 5 armor kind of makes this weapon the great equalizer between broke lads and uber chads. Then there's those guys. Yeah. Simo Haya himself was reborn in Tarkov to dumpster on us all with a completely stock garbage rod. It doesn't matter if you push them, flank them, or swarm them. They will put a round through your skull. Also, they constantly blast either Veritas' Mosin Man parody or the White Death by Sabaton. They're kinda scary. Ugh, these guys are going to be really damn annoying to fight. If someone has the PU scope equipped, they almost certainly have a decent amount of skill, but nothing too crazy. The annoying part comes in when you try to push them. As soon as they see you moving forward, they just scurry away and shoot you again. Unless you catch them in the open or shoot them at long range, they're just going to keep running away until they either get you or they run out of ammo. The SV98 is probably the best early to mid-wipe option right now. Its ammo is readily available and the gun itself is not hard to get. That being said, a lot of people don't like this thing, and it's probably because of the trigger delay from like 6 wipes ago. That PTSD prevents them from using this, honestly, incredibly solid weapon. As a result, you don't see it too often, but those that do use it absolutely refuse to touch any other bolt action. Seriously, they are so devoted to this thing that it might as well be a cult at this point. They'll also probably get very bitter if you call it a green Mosin. The M700 is the vanilla ice cream of the bolt actions. It's good and it gets the job done, but it's also the most basic choice. Since this weapon is so common, it's really hard to pin down a specific stereotype. It exists, and people use it for medium to long range engagements. The only noteworthy thing is if someone uses it unsuppressed, they are either broke and just couldn't buy a suppressor, or they are very skilled in that thunderous boom is an invitation to try something. In case of the latter, push carefully. Most people use this thing with a suppressed barrel since that's the only thing that's really unique about it. Because of this, a loud DVL will confuse the entire lobby as they have no clue what gun makes that sound. Otherwise, DVL users tend to act exactly how you would expect a suppressed sniper to act. The major exception is if someone has a Monstrum 2x scope. They're gonna be incredibly aggressive. Seriously, I have seen these guys hard charge dorms knowing damn well there are 4 people inside. Even though this sounds like a terrible, terrible idea, it works out surprisingly often, so look out for these crackheads. People who use the T5000 are basically impossible to see or find. There are 2 instances where you can see that, yes, they do indeed exist. One is where you just got your head ripped off by a suppressed rifle in a bush from 150 yards away. The other is when you accidentally trip over them and panic spray until they die. Seriously, these guys are better bushwookies than the Viet Cong. They also tend to lord over the other bolt actions with the fact that you can still see through the scope when the bolt is cocked. Otherwise, just, yeah, bushwookie. The AXMC is really the only 338 Magnum option for people who value their time, or who just don't feel like doing this quest. Seriously, I ain't doing all that just to be allowed to buy a Mjolnir. Otherwise, the AXMC is the T5000 on the Liver King diet.
That means a hell of a lot of steroids.
Someone who uses this almost certainly has an MP7 as a sidearm, but they tend to avoid close-range engagements as much as possible. When one of these is in the raid, somebody, somewhere, is going to be abruptly ripped in half. Well, that rounds off the bolty stereotypes. I plan on doing the SMGs next, and boy, that's gonna be a long video. Be sure to leave your suggestions for SMG stereotypes below, and maybe put a hashtag stereotype so I can easily filter those comments. Anyways, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I really hope you enjoyed.